hot seat. In the hot seat we have
Mr. Handley.
Hi, I'm Mr. Handley. Where did you grow up after you attended college?
Where did I grow up at?
Yes.
Okay, I grew up in a little town called Boerne, Texas. And Boerne is, it's not out here in West Texas. It's down in what everybody refers to as the hill country. It's about 30 minutes this side of San Antonio.
And where did you attend college?
Well, I started out at Tarleton State in Stephenville, and then I transferred to, now it's called, I think it's called Texas State in San Marcos. But then I transferred to Southwest Texas State at the time, attended those schools on my background and family we're involved in rodeo, and so I attended those schools on a rodeo scholarship, and then ended up graduating from Angelo State in San Angelo, and then that's where I graduated with my bachelor's, and then went on and did my master's program and everything like that, and we ended up graduating with that from UTPB.
What's a typical weekend look like when you're not at school?
A typical weekend, if I'm not doing anything school related, if we're not at a baseball game, we're getting into that time of the year where we're playing on Saturdays and things like that. But if I'm not at school, I've got two boys that travel a lot, and so both of them are in school, in college, and so usually if they're competing or riding somewhere, we're usually there, wherever town that is, as long as it's not too far away. And if we're not, then it's taking care of things around the house, or it might be. I like to read. Some people find that. Can't believe I would say that, but yeah, I like to read a lot. So sometimes might be taking an afternoon just working on some books, just reading. Pretty boring stuff generally if I'm not somewhere trying to catch up and keep up with our boys.
Hobbies you do besides reading?
Besides reading, we generally in the wintertime, I'm one of those guys, we like to hunt. A lot of fishing. We like to fish a lot. It makes it hard being out here, but in the summertime, we usually find ways to get down to the coast and try to fish down there. Outside of that, wintertime, we didn't get to go this year, but for several years, I like to snow ski, and so it's a family trip, snow skiing, stuff like that. Usually in New Mexico, and outside of that, it's just a lot of our time is hanging out with our boys, traveling wherever they're going to be, pulling a camper and setting up and just hanging out. We've got other people that their parents, they're grown-ups or in education like us. So a lot of times we have the same work hours, the same schedule, same spring break, holidays, and things like that.
Do you enjoy the Monahans Lobos football team?
I do, man. And really, I mean, you said football. I mean, football kind of kicks everything off, and they probably this year with this year's team, and success, they probably get a lot more attention than some of the other teams and stuff. But we generally, you see us at a lot of games, whether it's myself, Mr. Sharp, Mr. Amburn, Coach Stow. You see us at a lot of other events. Not just because we want to send an administrator to those games, but all of us are kind of cut from the same cloth. If our kids are there, then we want to be there. It doesn't matter if it can be a band contest, or it can be, I think we got UIL coming up this weekend, whether it was a swim meet, whatever it is, one-act play. If our kids are there, generally, I mean, it probably works out more that because there's more volleyball games, or there's more basketball games or football games, we're usually at those a lot more. But whether they're in town, out of town, we're usually going to be at them because that's where our kids are at. So we're going to go watch.
How can parents actively participate in the school community?
So they play a big role. I've been on the phone a lot this morning with some different parents, and it's generally, a lot of them think parents just call to complain or to call and stuff like that. That's not it at all. Of course, you have some of that, but that's not it at all. I mean, a lot of times the parents they might call, and they call the front office and asking about games, starting times of games. Where's it at? Is it in town, out of town? Those kind of things. So there's a lot of that interaction back and forth with parents about extracurricular events. The other things that parents, ways they can get involved in, we have parents and grandparents that I know of right now that work on our campus and in the district as substitutes. I know I've seen with the band, that takes a lot of help from parents. You will see parents that I know with our golf teams, I see gone to their tournaments and stuff. They have a booster club, so that parents get involved in that. There's a lot of different ways. I know, like in the swim meet, there's always parents that have to work as timers, as helpers, and things like that. Those are all kind of different avenues or different outlets that I always see parents, people, maybe their kids have already graduated from here, but it's just parents, members of the community that want to volunteer and help out.
Can you share any upcoming improvements the school or?
Yeah, well, man, all you got to do is drive around here and see. This is my first year on this campus. I was here, I think, in 2011, and left and went to Andrews, that town up north. Anyway, coming back, while I was at Andrews, I would have to be over here. I'd come over here for games and different stuff when we were playing you guys. But all you got to do is drive around here, and I mean, we started the year. We had a great big dirt piles out in front. We got that down. They finished the front side of the pool. They finished all that. You guys got y'all have been here longer than I have, so I mean, the renovations that went with Burrito Gym, what we used to call the Burrito Gym, and now where the theater or where the auditorium is. They're building 2 new gyms right now. They're just finished up the 2. There's an art room right down the hall. There's 4 different classrooms, I believe, going in there between the art rooms and then where y'all are going to move into, I believe. So there is a lot of construction going on right now, and so when we need the facilities because we obviously outgrew what we had, and so I know adding the 2 gyms is going to take when you're trying to get JV and freshman and varsity boys basketball, girls basketball. You've got 3 teams going in volleyball. When you're trying to be able for those teams to practice, to work out, do what they do. Not to mention PE classes, and when we have bad weather, having that space. I know you can walk by Miss Casey's room. The art program has completely outgrown that classroom. And so she's getting a bigger space and storage and things like that. And then I can still walk down the hallways and see where little rooms are that they built to house all our new technology needs and things like that, where we're putting in computers and putting in things to service the internet and everything that Mr. Fox does. When you go down here by the Black Box Theater, which all that is new, take a right. They're almost getting through with that hallway that will connect. So when y'all go to the band hall, you don't have to walk around outside. Everything will be under roof. When you go, we call it the Green Mile, but if you didn't know, you'd be able to walk out that door right behind you and take a right and go all the way to the complex down one hallway and not have to walk down the street like we are right now. So there's a lot of things that are in the mix, that are under construction right now, that hopefully when we come back to school in August, that all those things will be completed.
What are your duties and responsibilities as an assistant principal?
Yep, I'm assistant principal here. Me and myself and Mr. Amburn, and we have a list of duties, but we can walk in and we might have a plan every day when we walk in the door, but that changes every single day. I have a set thing of duties that's going to be constant every day. I mean, next week we have telepass testing. I'm over all of that. So I'm trying to get things situated for that. Over all of our ESL program, I'm over all of that. But just like today, when I came in this morning to work on that, then something arises during the school and you have to change hats and shift gears and you go take care of that. There's a lot of different duties that myself and Mr. Amburn have on paper that we are the go-to guy that we have to answer for those programs or those lists of duties and things like that. But you may have the other day I'm reading in a classroom because I was in the classroom and it looked like a good thing to do, and so I was reading the novel that they were reading in that classroom to those students. We do a whole lot of. We're in the classrooms, not just monitoring and looking at what the students are doing, but how are the teachers? How are they teaching? What are they doing? Are we on track? All the teachers start out the year with a game plan, and how are we in relationship to that game plan? Are we still at that point of the year on their calendar where they think they ought to be? We meet with teachers in the mornings with our different PLCs. Y'all see me in the cafeteria every morning, keeping an eye on things in there. You'll see me and Amburn and Mr. Sharp in there every day at lunch. And so there's a lot of different duties and things that pop up during the day, but there's that we have to drop what we're doing and go take care. Right before I walked in here, I was trying to take care of a kid's why he can't open up his classes on his Chromebook. So that's what I was doing right before I sat down and talked to you guys. And so there's a lot of different things that pop up. We wear a lot of different hats. And it just depends on the time of the day which hat you're putting on.
I heard earlier you went to college for your bachelor's and master's.
Mm-hmm. I got and it's funny. This is the story that you never say. You never say never. I grew up. My mom was a school teacher there in Bernie for, a long time. She taught junior high English. I believe at one point in time she even taught Spanish. And I specifically remember telling an advisor in San Marcos at Southwest Texas, specifically telling an advisor who was wanting to sign me up in all these education classes because I was majoring in kinesiology. That's a fancy word of saying PE. I specifically remember telling her that, no ma'am, I don't need to take that. I will never be a school teacher. And so after I graduated from college, injuries kind of led me into a different career path or different kind of following a hobby type of thing. And I actually got into the golf business, and after graduating from Angelo State with my bachelor's in '92, that doors opened and I pursued a career in the PGA of America with being a teaching professional and not the guys you see on TV playing, but a teaching professional at the private club level. And so did that for multiple years, and then at the time got a call about stepping into public school golf coaching. And so that's how that door got open for me to get to transition from being at the private club, private sector, type of deal into public school teaching and coaching and things like that. When I got into that, when I made the move into coaching in public school, then that there was the need there to go ahead and complete my master's, and so my master's is in secondary education, and so I'm not sure how long that took. It took a couple of years, took however many classes, and got that done. And so my undergrad, my bachelor's degree is in kinesiology. My master's degree is in secondary education.
What is your favorite or hardest part of your job?
Which the favorite part of my job? The favorite part of my job is you guys keep me on my toes and keep me young, even though my hair's turning gray more and more. The favorite part of my job is seeing you guys kind of transition. I have different. I look at it as we got a very. Y'all see it as high school, man. It takes 4 years. To me, that is such a short window. I look at everything through the lens of y'all come in and y'all kind of remember you come in as freshmen, glorified 8th graders, first semester freshmen, and the conversations that I have with second semester juniors and seniors are so different than a student that's here in, say, September, October, their freshman year. Because the maturity that takes place, you hope for it to take place. And then it's, right before y'all came in here, perfect example. Right before y'all came in here, I'm dealing with, for lack of a better word, drama with a freshman girl. And because of somebody said something and blah, blah, blah. You know how that goes, right? There's probably some social media stuff in there, right? But then yesterday I'm talking to a senior in high school, and it's nowhere near that. Now we're talking about their plans, what they can do after when they graduate in May, and a letter of recommendation from me. These are the scholarships that they're applying for. So it's a whole different conversation, and it's fun to watch you guys grow up, because we look at things, y'all are getting close to it. As you start getting closer to May, everything's about that graduation night, and that's like the biggest thing. I'm looking at it, okay, you're going to graduate on a Friday. Are you prepared for Monday? So what are your plans when you walk off the stage? The sun's going to come up the next day. What are we doing? And what's the plan, where are we going? Whether that's military, whether that's into the workforce, whether that's into college, whether that's a 4-year or 2-year, it doesn't matter. What are you going to do when you walk off the stage? What's the plan? And so it's fun seeing y'all kind of come from the 14-year-old drama that somebody blocked me on Snapchat, and it's caused the whole world to shut down. Versus when you get to that senior that's talking about what are they doing after high school. The hardest part of my job is seeing some of the mistakes that kids make. Whether you're coaching, whether you're teaching, whether you're, I can walk down the hallway and I can find teachers that feel the same way. I've seen kids make mistakes that, you just pass them in the hallway, you see them at lunch, you see them wherever. You see them on a volleyball court, you see them on a football field, you see them wherever, you see them in town working. And they're good people. They are, they're really good people. But in the blink of an eye, they choose to do something that affects the rest of their life. Not just their lives, their families' lives and things like that. So and you know that they're good people. Have nothing against them at all. But they make a choice. I had to sit in a deal this morning, again, one of those hats we put on. Sat in here this morning and a student had to go to DAP for 30 days. And I hate being in that role, but it comes with the territory. That's what I'm expected to do. That's what I got to do. But I'm looking at the kid. I'm looking at the mom, and it's when I was at Andrews. I'll get tougher here in a minute, but you asked me a tough question. when I was in, and I don't like talking about it. But when I was in Andrews, we went through that bus wreck. And we lost 2 guys that I worked with the day before. I mean, was with them the day before. And on a going through Big Springs, you know, a guy crashes into a bus and kills the bus driver and the band director just like that. And I was in the hall with him the day before. So it's things like that, and then what the kids had to go through following that. And so when you ask the hardest part of our job, it's things like that. It's things that affect kids' lives. It's things that affect teachers' lives, their families. Their, you know, those 2 guys were married, their wives, their kids, their grandkids. So it's things like that. The stuff like having to get on a kid because they got 4 tardies, or you know, that's an easy one. You know, that's an easy one. But it's the stuff that's that you know that really affects you guys.
Today in the hot seat we have
Mr. Amburn, Assistant Principal.
What are your duties and responsibilities as an assistant principal?
Those change a lot, but you know, a big part of what I do is discipline and attendance. You know, attendance as far as freshmen and seniors. Mr. Handley kind of handles the tardies in the mornings after lunch, and I kind of get everything else that comes in on Educator Handbook. So, you know, walkthroughs throughout the classrooms, those types of things, but the changes all the time.
What are your hobbies?
Hobbies, I like anything sports. I like to play golf. I like to watch football, basketball. Went to school at Tech, so I like anything tech sports. Yeah, you're looking around the office, it's all tech stuff. So yeah, anything tech athletics related, I love to go attend those or watch those on TV. Where
did you grow up and attend college?
I grew up in Tulia, which is in between Lubbock and Amarillo, small 3A school. And then from there I went to Tech in Lubbock, and ended up getting my degree from there. And then after that I taught for several years, and then got my master's from Lamar University online.
What is your hardest part of your job?
Oh, the hardest part, probably, you know, having to have some of those tough conversations sometimes. You know, disciplining a kid that so maybe sometimes you know you deep down you really like the kid, but at the end of the day you gotta discipline them like everybody else. You know, so there are some parts of this job that are not fun. Sometimes you get some angry people on the telephone or that come in that are not real fired up about some of the decisions we make, but that's just kind of part of it.
What's your favorite part of your job?
You know, one of my favorite parts, it's a good and bad. There's never 2 days that are the same. There's always something different every single day that you come in here. You know, but that's also a downside too, because I'm very much a planner, and so you know, every day being different sometimes throws you off a little bit. So you know, the good thing and the bad thing about my job is that there's you know, not every day is the same, so always something different.
Can you share any upcoming improvements to the school or that it's going under?
You know, as you can see, there's always stuff going on. You know, in the last couple of years, we've just, you know, I was here for 8 years, left for 4, and when I got back in the middle of it was boom, huge construction. You know, in the last few years, we've opened up the auditorium, the new offices, the library, we're fixing to open up the new classrooms. If you guys have seen that across from the library, those will be for art. You know, our PAL classrooms, for your classrooms, for this class, they'll be in there. I know Mr. McCrae is chomping at the bit to get in there.
How can parents actively participate in the school community?
You know, parents can you know, a lot of times they get involved in booster clubs. They get involved in, you know, they come to parent report card day. They, you know, but parents have opportunities to communicate with us, get involved, and sometimes that's through athletics. Sometimes even subbing. If anybody, we're always needing subs. So if anybody's wanting to sub, that would be a great opportunity for us to get some parents up here as well to help sub. So we welcome, you know, any parent involvement that we can get.
Is there a volunteer program in place for students or parents?
As far as, what do you mean?
Just any kind of volunteer program.
I mean, our students have volunteer work as far as, you know, there's lots of programs, you know, there's, I just think of the juniorettes because I get to be a part of that group. You know, you've got the PAL organization that volunteers. I know it's a class, but it's a lot of volunteer time with that, but you know, our students have a lot of volunteer. I know our athletic programs volunteer to, you know, drop off food at the food banks and that type of thing. So lots of opportunities for our kids to help volunteer and get out in our community. I know some of our athletic teams go, you know, help, you know, walk kids in the door at kindergarten and Tatum and Parkway and that type of thing. So always good for those young kids to be able to see our kids because eventually they want to be that kid. They want to be you guys. You know, whenever they get older.
How can students get involved in clubs, sports, or extracurricular activities?
You know, clubs, we have a lot of time, our clubs have gotten a little bit more now that we've got the win time built in between fourth and fifth period. You guys know what that is, but maybe people that are watching, you know, win time is an opportunity for 35 minutes in between fourth and fifth period where students can select either tutorials or clubs or UIL or sports activities. So win time has really helped our clubs. Sports, you know, that's obviously with our coaches, you know, getting involved early. I know the earlier you can get involved in a sport. We're a small school, it's about 600 kids, so we want our kids being involved in as much as they possibly can, athletics, UIL, theater, you know, the audiovisual stuff that you guys do. So, you know, it's cool to see you guys even being a part of Friday night, you know, football games and those types of things. It's really neat to see you guys involved in all types of different things.
How does your school handle emergencies?
Oh, you know, there's always, you know, hopefully we don't have a ton of those, but we try to practice them. You know, we have the lockdown drills that we get a lot of practice at that because of or really a whole drill, you know, when our drug dog comes and that type of thing. But, you know, emergency evacuations, fire drills, tornado drills, those types of things. Try to practice as much of that as we can. You know, it's hard to do when we're also trying to run a school, trying to get you guys educated, but also we've got to keep you guys safe. You know, this year we've implemented our security guards on campus, which you guys see those guys around all the time, walking around, checking doors. You guys are very familiar with those guys, so it helps keep our school safe. We're constantly checking doors. You know, after some of the unfortunate things that have happened in schools in recent years. It's kind of made us be a little bit more safe and heads up towards emergencies, but you know, hopefully it never happens, but hopefully we are prepared if it does.
What do you go for tech?
So when I went there, I was a exercise sports science major, which is basically, yeah, you're going to be a PE teacher. But I minored in English. Ended up I taught PE for my first 2 years, and then ended up teaching history. Most of the time, I was a U.S. history teacher for most of my career. I really enjoyed the classroom. Really like getting in the classrooms. If I have a bad day, sometimes I just go hang out with Coach Lepps or Coach Jones, get some U.S. history, because I enjoyed teaching that. So, but yeah, that was my major, and then minored in English.
So what do you think about being a hall rover?
I always give kids a hard time. You know, the kids that are out in the hall all the time, I see them all the time out in the hall, and they're like, well, you're always out in the hall too. I'm like, yeah, but they pay me to be out in the hall, you know. So I always tell kids, you know, you got to get you a job where you can roam the halls. Like, that's fun. But no, I like being out there. You know, I don't like sitting here a whole lot. You know, if I need a kid, I'd rather go get them. You know, I've had to come get some of you guys for attendance meetings, right? You know, I'd much rather come to class and come get you out and be as interrupt as little as possible, because I know, being that teacher, that an office aide comes and knocks on their door, and they're not being as considerate as they should. So I'd much rather just get in there, grab you as quick as I can, get you out of there, and interrupt the teacher as little as possible. But no, I think being out and about and being seen is important. Developing relationships with kids. This job has different relationships with kids than it did when you were a teacher and a coach. Before, kids maybe tended to like you a little bit. Now they run from you because they know it's usually not good, either discipline or attendance. So sometimes just being out in the hall and fist bumping, giving a kid a hard time, joking with them, is your opportunity to build a relationship with a kid.